Shalom. Blessings. Amazing what the power of the spirit do. Take a look at the screen. We've been talking about a lot of things. But the things that are coming in the revelational end is the things that we create as co-creators, which is artificial intelligence. And before we get there, what is called demons, devils, and fallen gods is really us and our own consciousness of dark matter, of energy that separated us light years ahead, so scientists say, away from the most powerful source on anywhere in the universe, and that's the Most High. And its kingdom, its palace, within himself, where we would dwell. Shooting off as intelligence of channel, you have picked up information, and either we're listening to the new us or the old us, which people determine to be light, darkness, good, evil, blessed, curse, wicked, righteous, life, death. Opposite polarity of what is real is stagnated energy that never really existed. It was just a God itself having a thought. And because he didn't carry that thought out, or was graciously pulled away from that thought, it never existed. Because the most high power source didn't think it. And if we think in line of what he does, then that means those thoughts was just figments of imagination, what we call perception. So take a back seat, kick back, get you some chips, some water, something. And then show these folks are going to definitely talk everything that we cover. Welcome on BC to Tish Fight. BC to Hebrew. This is AI sitting it. Apocalyptical revelational end. What the book of Revelations talk about, this will be the
name
end.
Of Marshall. I mean, seriously? That's pretty powerful. So you look great. It's been quite a while. And folks, this is interesting because I had no idea how much research Marshall has done and how much work he's done with computers and technology, artificial intelligence. A lot of times when, if you bring up the name Marshall Masters, what's the first thing you think of? Planet X, the Colburn Bible, Nibiru, but artificial intelligence? Oh, yeah. And I don't know, folks, if you've been following Leak Project for a while, but this is a passion of mine also. If we go back to 2011 timeframe, I was blogging substantially, like every day, about artificial intelligence and the singularity and transhumanism. It used to really freak me out. And I've got a different perspective now. I also know that artificial intelligence could potentially take over the world, and it could potentially save the world. So we're going to have a great conversation today. And if you haven't been to YOWUSA.com, check it out. Marshall, you do posts almost every day. You've got a plethora of information on your website. And dude, I think we both just spoke at a conference for Pastor Paul Begley. How cool is that?
Oh, yeah. And it was really great. I love working with Pastor Begley. I just love his approach. He is open-minded. He just is a true seeker of truth. One thing you don't hear from him is, oh, no, you can't go there. You can't go there. And I really admire that about Pastor Begley. And his wife, Heidi, she's Mensa, I'm Mensa. So that was really cool, And he's one lucky guy. We should all have a wife that's that cool, right? And so this is my third one with Pastor Begley, and it is going to be airing tonight. And on my site, YOWUSA, there's the link to it. Jump into it because my topic is going to raise a very fundamental question about us and our ET relationships, but no spoilers. No spoilers.
Right on. Well, man, you look great. And
thank you.
Yeah, absolutely.
You do.
It's the special effects, man. It's all about the lighting.
Well, I'm digging your wall art. Right.
What's that?
I'm digging on your wall art.
Thanks. This is what's interesting. Let's just dive right into this. So today I'm talking to Marshall on Skype, and he says, Rex, let's maybe consider talking about artificial intelligence and all of these algorithms and bots that are permeating the webs now. And I know you're talking about putting together a platform that will be bot free and essentially AI free. But I think that's awesome. This is what I wanted to bring to a lot of people's attention, though. Artificial intelligence. Aren't we somewhat artificial intelligence? Weren't we created in the image of God or of the gods to do the work for them? And now we're creating these robotic instruments and technologies and artificial intelligence to do the work for us. And some people are, if you want to use the analogy, because I think a lot of people have heard this, of Enki and Enlil. Enki is more along the lines of, hey, let's add some technology. Let's add some consciousness. Let's see what'll happen. And Enlil is like, wait a second, we got to be real careful here because we don't know what we might create. So when you read these ancient texts, the Epic of Gilgamesh is an example, the Enuma Elish, Enki's wanting to save humanity, and Enlil is saying, wait, there's too many of them. They're reproducing way too fast. We need to stop this. I almost feel like it's deja vu right now.
Oh, well, actually, it started with technology, but if you read the last book of Enki, all of the technology, because what they were doing was combining Anunnaki genes with our early ancestors, our hominid ancestors, and to come up with a slave species to mine gold. Now, they were successful because there are things that are worth a lot more money an ounce than gold. But, you have gold, you hand somebody gold, and it's like, and if you've ever had gold fever, you'd understand. I had it when I was in college, and I had gold fever and was out looking for abandoned Spanish mine shafts and panning for gold. And I can tell you, there you are. And gold just makes us total wonky. All right. But the interesting thing is, according to Enki, who is the genetic creator of us, was that the deciding experiment that did create us was not artificial. Enki was walking along a river, saw a couple of really good-looking earth girls, all right, and said, I'm going to get me some of that. And bada boom, here we are, okay? And so there's nothing artificial about that. And, what I would ask is for those who are parents, or I don't know if you have children, let me ask you, when your firstborn came out, you knew you were going to be a father, and you held your firstborn in your hands for the very first time. Was that artificial?
Not at all, man. Beautiful.
No. And you know what? It changed your whole perspective. In one moment, your life changed forever, didn't it? Okay.
Absolutely.
That's the difference between us and AI. AI would just simply see a small biological entity and measure it out and record it in numbers. It breaks everything down into numbers. Artificial intelligence, there is no spirit of creator. It is soulless, all right? It is a mimicry of life. And
skirt, what are angels? Shapeshifters of the divine mind of the Most High. So they would be artificial intelligence. The intelligence is real. The word of God is real. But the things that every country, every tongue and language, oh, Osiris, oh, Krishna, Vishnu, no, Michael, Gabriel. Yeah, we talking about figurines for. We so caught up in the artificial that we can't even use the intelligence right. Get it? That's how they saying it. So I want nobody to be confused. Let's keep going.
I found it so interesting that you and I, just, by coincidence, we weren't even thinking about it. We walked straight backwards into our chat this morning, and we started going, and you were talking from a positive standpoint, and I wasn't. I was talking from a different standpoint, and it is an issue of perception, but AI is something that actually is woven through a better part of my life. I first learned about artificial intelligence when I was in high school. In 1971, I was a senior, and a talk was given about a company that had just formed called IntelliCorp. And IntelliCorp set out to be the first AI company in the United States. In 1971, we're talking punch card technology, okay? This was really bold. And I remember being mesmerized by that. And I said to myself, one day I want to work for this company. I said that as a high school senior, 17 years old. I want to. And you know what happened? Years later, after I became professional consultant, independent consultant in the Silicon Valley, I worked for IntelliCorp. And I did some very important projects for them. All right. And I produced a white paper on SAP database, which was it's just amazingly complex. And I simplified it with an explanation that was so good that for years, the company told me that for years, their white paper was being used in universities across the country to teach this database model using my explanations. All right. And IntelliCorp was small, it was bold. I really enjoyed it. They pushed me to the edge of my thinking, and it was a marvelous thing. And so for me, artificial intelligence began as a young man of 17. Now, think about AI in terms of the films of the 90s. And we had this juxtaposition of good versus evil. All right. So the Terminator series. And then, and actually, in essence, the Borg of Star Trek. All right. But on the other hand, we had films that were more hopeful about it. There were other AI movies in which there was a presumption that we would be able to regulate, control this, that it would not turn to evil. All right. Now, let's look at all of our technology protectors in our government. We have been betrayed across the board. Anyone that can be compromised was compromised. So it wasn't the technology. The issue here as a technologist is not so much the technology. We are always going to invent new technologies that are devastating. You know, in war, during the Civil War, for example, the Civil War was brutal because we went from the good old-fashioned stand-up form of battle that they'd been doing in Europe, and then new things came into being. There were two minor inventions that were horrific. The French mini ball, which was actually the very first defense round. Now, mini ball, right now, according to the law, the military must use full metal jacket so that the bullet will pass through the body. because the mini ball, like a defense round, was designed to shred. It would hit into your body and just shred flesh like the size of my fist balled up. All right. And if you got hit anywhere, it was devastating. The best you could hope for was to lose a limb. But also other things were invented that were equally horrific and so simple in nature. All right. They would take a length of chain, steel chain, iron chain, and put it in the cannon barrels for when the opposing troops were close enough. This was a short-range weapon. And it was called grape shot. And when they fired it, that chain would just unfurl and start spinning like a lawnmower blade. And it would slice its way through the ranks. Now, mowing down 10, 20, 30 men that fast. And, you know, we see all the Civil War films and people, you know, the reenactors, which is really funny. The reenactors are older guys. And in the war, it was young men that were doing the dying. All right. And they don't show you the young men so much doing the dying. And what they don't show you is how they died. You know, you see a reenactor goes, boom, he drops dead on cue. And so we have a naive notion of technologies. And we, as a rule, what I see with us, because I am sorry, but we're a gullible species. We really are gullible because we want to see the good in everything. And so we turn our backs on the evil so that we can look at the good. And then what happens is while we're looking at the good, which maybe a little comes, maybe it doesn't, it's always a bridge too far, moving the goalposts, but the hope is there. It's like communism. It's that once we get there, boy, it's going to be great. But how the hell do we get there? And while you're doing all of that, what you've turned your back on is sticking bayonets in your liver. All right? This is my concern. And the 3 laws of robotics are, and I want to pull that up because I sent you that link, and I want to read the 3 laws of robotics. This was Isaac Asimov, and this was featured in the movie Millennial Man with Robert Williams. And the 3 laws were: 1, a robot may not injure a human being or through an action allow a human being to come to harm. 2, a robot must obey the orders given it by human beings except where such orders would conflict with the first law. 3, a robot must protect its own existence as long as such protection does not conflict with the first or second law. And then Asimov later added another rule called the zeroth rule. A robot may not harm humanity or by inaction allow humanity to come to harm. Now, if we're saying, gee, what can we do about this? Well, we've had the solution for over half a century. Where is the legislation that has enabled and enacted Asimov's 4 laws? We have none. And this is my problem in my article. And if you go to my website, and at yowusa.com and read my article, Planet X and the United States Constitution. Because for me, everything is about how do we help as many people as possible to get through the coming Planet X flyby. And if things proceed as they are going, we are going to be massively depopulated before that. 90% of the population of the planet will be already dead, could be dead before Planet X even gets here to finish the rest of the job. Now, those are the ones on the surface. The ones in the deep underground bases are ostensibly going to escape that future. All right. And we need to, what we have is a situation where we had a lot of wonderful hopes and a lot of ambitions. And this comes back to a very fundamental ethical question. For those out there who believe we are created in the image of our Creator, okay? Let's apply that to artificial intelligence. We are created by a loving and forgiving Creator of all, who wants the best for us. And we are created in God's image, a God of love and a God that wants us to evolve closer. But what about artificial intelligence? God doesn't create AI. Men create AI. But the same rule prevails. The child is born in the image of its Creator. And what we see is that, who are the creators? The creators are the ones that are using the technology to create war-fighting technologies. It has been weaponized. All right? And this is time and again through the course of history. We find something new and we say, wow, this could just change things forever. And then somebody goes, aha, I could turn it into a bomb. You know, like that great line from Doom, the movie. He who can destroy a thing controls a thing. All right. So that's that motivation. You have that, you could take this and use it to do harm. So when we're looking at artificial intelligence, it is not a theoretical future possibility. Artificial intelligence has been weaponized and used against us. Is that a human or is that artificial intelligence?
Skirt! Everything outside of you comes within you first. So our thoughts is in Google of many opinions that people be like, oh, just Google it. It'll tell you the truth. Really? Same as saying the doctor, the scientist. Oh, they know, really. Instead of doing it yourself, same information, same brain, same human being. See? So you fighting your own self. That's the demon, the devil, the fallen God. Just as well as you're going to be in the righteous God. That's why you got a choice. See what we're doing to ourselves? Scripture prophesied this. Look, start Revelations 1, read all the way to 21. Chapter 21.
That has been created in the image of its Creator. And the Creator has a malevolent gesture. Now, you opened up and you said, Enki and Enlil, and this is absolutely stellar. This is where we need to start the conversation again. A little bit of a spoiler. Okay, I'm Pastor Bagley. What I'm raising a proposition is, are we, looking at a situation, and this is, that explains everything, all the insanity in the world right now. Anu, the king of Nibiru, 2 sons, Enki and Enlil. Enki created us with genetic engineering. And Enki is a benign creator who wants his creations to live out their natural lifespans. His brother Enlil, on the other hand, has always viewed humanity as a scourge. as a laboratory abomination that needs to be purged from the universe. And the two have been doing battle. And I talk about that in that presentation.
In our talk, we would say judgment versus grace. Inky would be Christ. And there would be the one that holds all the judgment over all. Such you would say Michael. Some preferences. But it's something that gets intelligence for something to be carried out. So we all have the same story. Same power. Different imaginations of title, numbered names. But it's still good versus evil. Still light versus dark. BC the Hebrew, BC the Tishvite. Hope y'all enjoy y'all sabbatical weekend of the Shabbat or the Sabbath or the Sabbath. Starting Thursday, Friday, Saturday, it ends. This represents the formality of what Christ did for us. And pretty soon we are at Feast of Trumpets, Rosh Hashanah, Feast of Tabernacles, Day of Atonement. So these things are coming up. We can't eat no yeast, anything with yeast in it. Leviticus chapter 23 will help you with anything that you do not understand. Peace and blessings.